Before becoming a dad, I thought leadership was about being in control. Now, it's about patience. It's about presence, and honestly, it's about realizing you don't always have the answers, but you show up anyway. Super excited to have you be tuning into today's episode on the Hybrid Athlete Dad podcast, where I'm going to be talking about what fatherhood has taught me about leadership. Now, before I dive into today's episode, I like to go over anything in my life that I think that you may find interesting, beneficial, or just an observation that I find that just want to worth sharing and getting it off my chest. So, diving right into today's episode is this part of the country, being in New York, having a change in the weather, specifically this week. Went out running, did a 7 mile run. Yesterday, it was a little bit chilly. It was 32 when I started running. My hands are pretty cold. I wasn't wearing any gloves for the first mile or two. And then I warmed up. I wear these Under Armour quarter zips. That's what I would typically wear in the fall. Today I ran in a half marathon quarter zip that I got when I had ran my previous half marathon. So nothing on the legs, but I noticed that my knees are getting a little, are definitely cold. And they're definitely pretty sore when I come back from runs. And then as I warm up, it starts to go away. So something I'm noticing that it's starting to change as we get more into the winter seasons. I'll have to dress up more and more hats, mittens. I have a Gore-Tex gear where I have pants and I have a jacket, Under Armour cold gear, whatnot, and just preparing for the seasons. And I enjoy running in the fall. I enjoy running in the spring. I grind through in the winter. I grind through in the summer. I'm not one to really enjoy running when it's 10 degrees out, but I do it anyways. I don't enjoy running when it's 90 degrees out, but I go out and I do it anyways because I know eventually the spring season is going to be upon us or the fall season is going to be upon us and be able to go out there and enjoy my runs in a little bit cooler weather. So just dealing with that this week and, really diving headfirst in the fall. And it's the first time I can remember in a while of having to wear any extra gear, having to wear, I wear almost like a construction worker vest to a certain degree while I run, especially the weather is a little bit gray. I'm wearing, if you're watching this on video, I have a blue Under Armour shirt, but it's pretty light. I have a lot of gray Under Armour shirts, white Under Armour shirts that I'm wearing when I'm running, and I don't want a car to miss me, so I wear the almost like neon yellow runner's vest, work vest, whatever you want to call it, while I'm out there running, just to protect myself in the event that I would prefer, if I could help it, to not get hit by a car. So that's always the goal when I'm going out there and running. This week's been a little bit different. Last week didn't feel great on Monday. Ended up running 2 miles on Monday, crammed the 28 miles in the remaining 4 days of the week on Tuesday through Friday. Similar this week, got called in for jury duty on Monday, ended up running 2 miles before that. Ended up being at jury duty for pretty much the entire day, didn't get out. Was there from about 8:15 in the morning until about 4:15 in the afternoon before I ended up getting dismissed and not chosen as a juror. So Monday came and went with that, but was able to pick it up on Tuesday. Tuesday I ended up going 9 miles, not 7 miles. And then today on Wednesday I ended up going 7 miles. That puts me at 18. On Thursday I'll do 7, Friday I'll do 5, and I'm back in my regular rhythm. So enjoying this so far, just to get back on track and to make sure that I can get my miles in for the week. It's especially pertinent this time of year. I mean, I don't mind running in the dark. I did my marathon running in the dark, but where I am right now, if I'm getting up on the weekends before my daughter gets up about 5:30, it doesn't get light out until about 7:30 at the moment. I'm doing a 40-minute run, so the whole run would be with a headlamp on and the pitch dark. Again, I don't mind it, but I prefer to run when it's light out, so it's giving me that flexibility of not having to run early on Saturdays or Sundays by just increasing my mileage during the week. Now, diving into today's episode, which again is what fatherhood has taught me about leadership, and it's really changed over the excuse me, over the last 2 years plus say 4 months. It's crazy. Our daughter's going to be 2.5 years old soon, and we have another one on the way. But leadership has definitely changed since becoming a father. I mean, the whole perspective changes. It's not some. It's hard to express and talk about and emphasize like how everything changes once you become a father, and just something that just happens. And if you're a parent, you get it, and if you don't, it's just something that it's hard to describe, and it's really something that you have to experience. Now, one of the major shifts in my mind was, okay, how can I get things done on my own versus how do I help others grow? How do I help my daughter grow as a person? Is that leading by example? Is that showing her what I'm doing? And just making sure that I can help her grow as a person and as an individual as she starts to get older in life. The first lesson I learned is that leadership starts with presence. My daughter's not going to remember the emails that I answered. She's going to remember the moments that I was there. There's always going to be more work to do. There's always going to be more training I could do. But I realized that, like, do I want more money? Yes, of course. Do I want to be more in shape? Yes, of course. But at what degree do I push myself so far that you push your family away? And this isn't to say like I want to take it easy and just, not be the best that I can be. But it's just remembering like, okay, I have a daughter now. And for me, like my personal preference is like fatherhood comes first above everything else. Between the hours of, just make it simple for me, between 9 and 5 every day, that's my time to get my job done. If I can't get what I need to get done for my job in those 9 to 5 hours of just being present, of being focused, of being working, then I have to reevaluate how I'm going about my day. Because when my daughter's home, I want to be fully present with her. Because right now she wakes up about 7 a.m., drop her off for daycare about 8 a.m., so that's 1 hour. And then she's home about 4:30ish, 5, and we put her down about 8 o'clock each night. So that's about say between 4 and 5 hours a day I get to spend with my daughter. That's not enough. I want to spend the entire day with her, seeing her grow, teaching, having her learn. And while I know it's not enough, I don't want to shorten it any more than what I have to. I don't want to push myself more in training and work. And again, this isn't to say that you should not push yourself, and that's not what I want to allude to, but just making sure like, okay, I'm going to train running every day, 8 to 9. This is what works best for me. Okay, between the hours of 9 and 5, I know what I have to get done at my job. And I find that with my daughter, I want to be around her as much as I can, while also leading a responsible life, while being in shape, taking care of the finances, making sure that everything is running smoothly as a family. Teams thrive when leaders actually see them, and that's what I feel is the same as would be for my daughter. The second lesson I want to discuss is that patience builds trust. Toddlers move at their own speed, and so do employees. Sometimes you hire someone and they grasp the concept rather quickly. Sometimes they need a little bit more handholding. Some employees, maybe you need to back off. And it could be the same for a toddler, where sometimes if you're rushing, it can lead to frustration. Like if my daughter wants to do something rather quickly, it can lead to her frustration. And that's not what I want. I want to rather guide her and allow her to have a development and to learn and to understand, even if it's something as simple as undoing the cap on a bottle of water, where she could get frustrated, she can't figure it out. I'm going to show her, and then I'm going to give it back to her and have her do it. And the same could be said when you're running your own company, whether you're running it, whether you're an employee of a company, just knowing that everyone moves at their own speed. And especially as a father, you have to have patience. There's times where I rearrange my daughter's bookshelf, make sure all the books are good, put some books downstairs, bring some books upstairs, have it nice and organized for the first time in a little while. She comes in, she rips about 30 books off the bookshelf. It's easy to get frustrated, but that's not where I want to be. I don't want to be frustrated with it. And just knowing, like, okay, like, just letting her know, like, hey, I just organized this. I would appreciate if we didn't pull these off the bookshelf. Now, does she listen and understand? Maybe. Is she going to do it again tomorrow? Probably. But just not being frustrated and just having that patience to not get angry, whether it's at your daughter or son or an employee or even at yourself. If you want to hit a PR goal and you come up a little bit short, just knowing that, okay, I have this frustration, but that's not going to do anything for me. I'd rather guide and develop myself and the other people around me. The third lesson is that communication needs simplicity. I can't explain a morning routine like a legal contract. What I need is clear and simple expectations to help minimize the stress for everyone. And what this translates to leadership is that clarity beats complexity every time. My daughter is always asking me questions. What's this? What's this? Why is that way? Why is this that way? And just having an open door of communication. This is a dog. This is a fence. Daddy, why do you go for a run? I go to run because I want to be in better shape. Why do I go to the gym? I go to the gym so that I have no problems picking you up as you get older, as you get bigger, as you get stronger. And just having that open door of communication and dumbing it down the best way possible. Where you don't want to insult someone's intelligence, but sometimes just communication, not community, communication, sometimes it just needs a little bit of simplicity. Now, lesson 4 is probably my favorite lesson about what fatherhood has taught me about leadership. And it's that I'd rather lead by example than tell my daughter what to do. My daughter's going to copy what she sees. And I really find that this is going to be the most powerful leadership strategy, which is show, don't tell. I could tell my daughter to eat healthy, but if I'm not eating healthy myself, why is she going to eat healthy? If I tell my daughter that she should go running, but she doesn't see me running, why would she run? Now, my goal is that she would run even if I wasn't doing it, but it makes it more impactful now that I'm doing it. She can see me running, she can see my races. When it comes to going to the gym, if I never went to the gym, if I never picked up a weight, what are the chances that my daughter would go and pick up a weight? Maybe if she was already an athlete after getting her into sports. But I find it just powerful where every morning I'll hop in the car with my daughter and I'll drop her off her daycare and I'll talk to her while she's sitting in the back seat. And probably 9 times out of 10, she'll say, "Daddy, you go to the gym today." It's almost a full sentence put together, but a little broken. "Daddy, you go to gym today." Yes, I went to the gym. And I say, "Today I did leg day. Today I did goblet squats. I did lunges. I did step ups. I did leg extensions. I did hamstring curl machine. And I did calf raises. And then I ran 7 miles, or I'm going to run 7 miles afterwards." And just sharing that with her. And every day I go through, here's why I did this workout. I did this leg workout. She probably has no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm telling her what I'm doing. With the goal, as she gets older, she'll eventually see more of it and be encouraged to go to the gym, to go on runs, to eat healthy. I mean, right now, her favorite meal would be ice cream and candy. And obviously, again, she's a little under 2.5 years old. So I don't expect her to eat a meal of just chicken breast, rice, and broccoli on every single meal like I do myself that I enjoy. But it's just leading by example that as she gets older, she can see me going to the gym, she can see me going for these runs, she can see how I eat, and that she'll emulate what I am doing. I want to lead by example, which is pushing through hard things to show my daughter what resilience looks like. Not every day do I feel like going to the gym. Not every day do I feel like going for a run, but I do it anyways. Training for a marathon was exceptionally hard. If you've never done it before, going on long runs, even if I'm going on a half marathon, at this point, it's definitely a little bit hard. Deadlifting, at least right now, working back up, deadlifting 325 for 3 reps is definitely hard. And I don't feel like doing it, but I do it anyways, and I become a better person because of it. And that's the example that I want to be sharing with my daughter. And the last lesson on leadership that I want to share today is that emotional regulation is a leadership skill. It's handling the chaos. This could be tantrums, this could be missed naps, this could be snacks where I give my daughter, say, some Cheerios and she throws them all over the house. Our daughter just won't go down for a nap that day no matter what. She's having a tantrum. And the tantrum could be over the smallest things. I'm trying to think where. Yeah, I know I might have mentioned before, we have a black cat that comes around our house on occasion. It's not our cat, it's just, say, the neighborhood cat comes around. Sometimes we see it. The neighborhood cat comes around occasionally. One day our daughter asks where the black cat is. I don't know where the black cat is. It's somewhere around the neighborhood. She starts crying, having a meltdown because she wants to see the black cat. Now, how am I going to respond to her? It's staying calm, and what that teaches my daughter and those around me is just having that steadiness and just relieving that pressure that I know you want to see the black cat. The black cat's not here, but I guarantee you if we look tomorrow, maybe the black cat will be here. And just reframing it like that and overcoming that and not getting frustrated that my daughter's having a meltdown over what to me seems like something very trivial, but to her is the biggest thing in the entire world. Where does leadership and fatherhood intersect? Rather, it's not two worlds, but it's one identity that makes the other stronger. And fatherhood has just shaped all my decisions when it comes to fitness, when it comes to business, when it comes to life. And I know I've beaten a dead horse on this podcast, but I just want my daughter to see how I work out, how I run, how I eat, how I run my business, how I want to be home for her all the time, whether she has a swimming lesson, whether she has gymnastics. I want to be there for her, and then I also want to be the example on my end of someone that she can look up to. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on what fatherhood has taught me about leadership, and I hope you tune into next week's episode where I discuss why fitness makes me a better husband.